Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for AspenTech CRM's presentation of Zoho CRM automations to boost productivity and efficiency. I'm excited to take you through some things today, show you how to do more with less using custom automations inside Zoho CRM and with some of the other tools inside the Zoho platform. For anyone who's not familiar with us, let me do a brief introduction. I'm Marshall Knapp, your host today. I'm the president here at AspenTech CRM. I've personally been working in the CRM field since 1999, and I've been a Zoho certified consultant since 2014. Our company has been in the CRM and related space since 1994. We've got clients throughout North America, even a few global clients, and they're in virtually all imaginable industries. We're based in Novi, Michigan, which for any of you who aren't familiar with the area, we're in Southeast Michigan. We're about halfway between Detroit and Ann Arbor. We've got a team here of 7 full-time US-based consultants, trainers, developers, and support staff. Everyone focused really on helping you get the most out of Zoho. So our agenda today, we've got an hour scheduled. If you're familiar with some of our presentations that we've done like this in the past, there's typically 10, 15, 20 minutes of Zoho show, a presentation like this, and then we get into some demo components, things like that. I'm actually going to take a little bit different approach with today. We're going to go ahead and get right into the live demo examples here pretty quickly, actually right after I get through this here. So you can see some of the things we're going to talk more about today. And many of these, actually almost really all of these, stem from real life examples of things that we've implemented for ourselves, that we've implemented for other clients. So these are real use case situations that we've set up in a demo environment to show you today that we hope will spur some ideas and spark some new thoughts about how you might approach your Zoho implementation and some of the additional things you might be able to do to extend your CRM. So we've got a number of examples that we'll run through there. We'll spend a little bit of time talking about how AspenTech might assist with these types of things if you're interested. There'll be definitely some time for Q&A at the end. But if you have questions as we go, please feel free to post those in the questions area. In that control panel down at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little question mark icon. You can just click on that and post any questions as we go. If we notice those as we're going along, if it's relevant to what we're talking about at the time, we'll try to get into those. Otherwise, like I said, there's going to be some time at the end here for questions. And if you've got any particular use cases that you're wondering about, if you'd like to know more about the feasibility of doing something with Zoho, feel free to ask here. We probably can't get deep into it, but we can probably answer at a very high level. And then if it makes sense, you can certainly plan for a follow-up conversation as well. So great to see you all here. Let's go ahead and dive in. So we're going to go ahead, like I mentioned, and get right into the live demo examples. The very first of these is something surrounding lookup fields and what we call push-pull automation. And there's a couple of different approaches that we can take to this, and I'll get into that with you as we go along. So I'm going to stay on this slide just for a moment while I give you a little bit of background and context on what we're talking about here. And then I'll jump right into the demo environment and show you more about this. So we have lookup fields inside of Zoho CRM. Lookup fields allow us to associate records between two modules. One example of this that's inherent inside Zoho CRM that many of you are probably already familiar with is the relationship between accounts and contacts. On a contact record, you have an account name field. That account name field is a lookup field to the accounts module. You can only input values there that exist already over in the accounts module. And once you do that, it creates a direct link or an association between that contact and that account. So once this relationship is established, it makes sense you may want certain information to flow between these records. As an example, Zoho already sets it up so that notes from contacts, emails from contacts, activities from contacts, things like that all roll up to the company record or the account record, so you can see all of that information all in one place. It's one of the advantages of using account records. However, we also sometimes want this information to flow the other direction, potentially from the account to the contacts. For example, if that account is a customer, you might want to see that designated on the contact record too. Makes it easy when you're viewing that contact, you're talking to them on the phone, or you're about to send them an email, to know they're a customer without having to go over to their account record, right? It can also be extremely helpful for marketing purposes. When you want to segment your contact list for marketing, you can't do so based on fields that exist at the account level. You must do it based on fields that exist on those contacts themselves. And since we have to market to people, people are the ones who respond to our emails, open them, look at them, click on things, and email us back, right? Or they're also the ones who answer our phone calls. It's really important that we can segment our contact database within the CRM by a lot of the properties that might exist at a company level or an account level. Another one might be industry, or you might have a sales volume that you're doing with a certain account, and you want to see that on the contact. Addresses are a common one, phone numbers, things like that as well, that when you change them on the account level, you'd expect all of the related contacts to also be updated. So without any kind of automation inside of Zoho CRM, you're left to do this type of thing manually. You input some data at an account level, and then you go and you input the same data at the contact level. Or if a contact changes from one company to another, you change that association from one account to another, but then you've got to sort of re-enter all that data at the contact level. Inevitably, through a process like this, data is going to get out of sync. Users are going to get tired of this. It's not a very user-friendly system. When new contacts get added and associated with the account, I'm guessing people probably take shortcuts and don't fill in a lot of that information. And so you can see how this sort of thing can become a problem pretty quickly. And if you haven't taken steps to address this in your CRM, you're probably facing some issues with this type of data, and probably needs a little bit of cleanup. The good news is we can help with that, both cleaning it up as well as preventing it moving forward. So let's talk about how we prevent that. The way that we prevent that is actually twofold. There's a couple of different options that we can employ here. And I'm going to show you inside of Zoho how this works. So we're going to start here on ABC Company. And there's a contact associated with this, Trevor. I also have Trevor open in the next tab over here. And Trevor's got a few fields on his contact record here, like this address information right here. If I'm going to go visit Trevor or this company, I'm going to need to know where he's located. And of course, I can't just go visit a company. I need to visit people at that company, similar to the emails I'm sending and things along those lines, right? Like I've got to have a real person on the other end of that. It's great I have an address for the company, but if I don't know that Trevor's located there or John or Susie is located there, it doesn't really help me. But oftentimes you do have many contacts located in the same locations. And so updating it in one place and having that push down to the associated records makes a lot of sense, right? So we have the ability through something called a field of lookup, where, and actually I need to refresh this record, give me just a second here, where we can actually pull information into this contact record using fields that are directly linked from an associated or lookup record in the system. You can see company is already linked right here. I'm going to link another record here, a secondary company, also similarly named ABC. And when I do that, note what this comes up and pops up with here. It's indicating to me that there's several related fields that are linked with secondary company that are being updated here. And it's primarily this address information right here. And so if I want to go ahead with that, I can hit save, or I can cancel this too to not proceed. But it wants to warn me before it does that. And so this is actually bringing data now in from the associated company to the contact record. And this is actually something that Zoho CRM is doing through an inherent feature that already exists in here that any of you could configure right after we're done with this phone call, called field of lookup. If you search for help article field of lookup, it's out there. You can configure that. It will bring this data into the record like that. The challenge is, though, that if I go to this company record here, ABC Company 2, and I make a change to that address here. So let's say they decided to move down the street to 1234 Main Street. They're going to stay in the same city, state, and everything else there. So we're not going to update those. But if I come back to the contact record after having changed that and refresh that, I'm going to find that that data did not update here. You can see I'm still at 2503 Maple Lodge Avenue there. And so with that, the problem becomes, when we got that information in one time, that was great, but unfortunately, we need to keep this data in sync on a going forward basis. And this isn't allowing us to do that. So it's a nice feature that Zoho implemented here, but it's not all encompassing and isn't going to completely tackle this need for us. The other thing that this is limited by is when we go in and associate this potentially to a completely different company, we want similar things to happen, right? And unfortunately, it's not quite going to work that way. So let's take a look at a different way of approaching this. We've done some other functionality around the primary company name here. We've got a few different fields up here, company information copied from company. These might be some additional examples of things you'd want to copy from a company record. The account status, are they active, inactive? Like I mentioned earlier, are they currently a customer, prospect? This is another vendor we work with, things like that. Industry is a pretty common one. But anything else that's unique to your business that might pertain to this company that you might also want to see on the contact records, we can customize this. And that's the beauty of the custom functions here, and what we can do with our development team is we can do this with any fields within here, any number of fields within the company record. And not only would they update automatically when the company changes here from one company to another, but in addition to that, and actually let me just go ahead and do that here so we can see that happen. So we can bring that, we can make those changes or through that. And you can see how those fields are now highlighted there. And those have now been changed to mirror what this particular company has here. But in addition to that, if I go to the company itself and I make a change, let's go in here and add an additional type of cuisine and check that off. And then let's add an SIC code as well and put that in. And now if I go back to Trevor's contact, all of that data is updated once again here automatically. Oh, SIC code apparently wasn't one of the fields we had linked, but you can see automatically updated the cuisine there for us. The other thing is too, when we change this from one company to another, everything automatically pulls in as it should. So kind of along similar lines with lookups has to do with forms that we utilize within Zoho CRM. So give me just a moment here to give you a little bit of background on this. So mapping lookup fields from forms to CRM. If you've employed lookup fields in CRM, which most people have, there's inherent ones in there like contacts and accounts, things like that, right? Or if you've used custom ones, that works too. There's a new feature now that allows us to capitalize on those relationships that we've built inside of CRM while we're capturing data through a Zoho form. Traditionally, if you send a form from CRM to a contact, you have the ability to write data back from that form submission back into the originating contact record. So you send somebody a form, ask them to update their contact information as an example. You would expect that to come back into that same contact that it originated from. And up until recently, you were somewhat limited to that. Now with the ability to map lookup fields from forms to CRM, we can do a lot more. So let's say you want to send a form from the contact, but have it associate to a different module when the data returns to the CRM. Maybe some sort of reviews or feedback that you're getting from somebody. Additionally, if you have forms out on your website that aren't initiated from a contact, when those come into the system, you may want those to also find their way to the appropriate records and associate correctly. You certainly don't want to do these things manually because the manual process is often something like, you have a form set up, somebody on your end receives that email, either they're tasked with manually entering that information in the system, or they decide who's supposed to do something with that email, and then they forward it to the appropriate team member. I'm sure this sort of thing sounds familiar with web forms that you've used either in the past or maybe are still using today. And so, we could, in the past with something like forms, if we did automate it and integrate it with the CRM and we imported that data, bring it right into the contact record. But that only works if they provide you, say, with a single review. If they attend multiple events, multiple trainings, multiple webinars, and they're going to review different things for you over time, you want to be able to keep a record of that, I would think, and not necessarily overwrite that each time. And so we've got a better way now of handling that with Zoho CRM and Zoho Forms. So let's use this contact here, Parker. And with Parker, we can send an email out to Parker. Let me go to insert a template here. And this is a review email. So let's say Parker just recently attended one of our baking classes here. We're going to send this review out to get feedback from the participant, of course. This is also something that can be automated and happen behind the scenes completely. I just wanted to kind of show this front and center so you had a better understanding of what was happening. So at the conclusion of a class, this type of email can easily go out to all of the attendees, and that's something we've helped our clients with as well. But if I went ahead and sent this email out to Parker, Parker gets that email. Parker clicks on the link and goes out to provide an evaluation. We're going to go ahead and put Parker's information in here. I want to make sure I get the email address right, because this is actually one of the ways that forms now can look up to the CRM. We can indicate who our instructor was, how well they did, if we want to do this again, and then type a few notes in here. Now, when I submit this, I've always had the ability to have it flow back the data directly to Parker's contact record. But now what we're actually doing is we're actually creating a completely new record inside the CRM for that review that Parker created, but then we're associating it to not only Parker's record, but also the class itself that was taken here. So if I go in now to my reviews module, here's the one that just came in from Parker. You can see that came in just a minute ago. We'll go ahead and go in there. And you can see it brought in all the data, of course, that Parker submitted on the form. But what's critical here is it linked to the cooking class that the review was for, and also the correct contact that actually submitted this review. That's the power of a relational database like Zoho CRM, is you have all of these connections. If I go to Parker's contact, I can see that review right there, right? If I go to the review, I can easily go back to Parker's record, or maybe I go to the class. If I go to the class, I can see all the various reviews. And then maybe there's an average here. And you have all these things in various ways connected through lookup fields inside the CRM. And now you're starting to see how something like Zoho Forms can take advantage of that and bring in other aspects of your business process to take on the power of those lookups. In a similar way, we've got another form here. In our example demo system here, where we've got a bakery that does classes and catering and things like that, let's say we have a form out on our website. This is not a form that I would send somebody to directly, but maybe this is a form that somebody would find themselves. They go to my website, they're interested in doing business with us, and they say, yeah, I've got an event coming up. Here's the information about that event, or here's the information about my project, or whatever it is that they think you could help them with, right? And let's say they submit that information here through a form on your website. So in this case, it is a catering event. So we're going to put in, this is the ABC company annual meeting. And, we can actually use Parker still here, Parker Parnell. Actually, I'm going to go back. Sorry, I'm going to use Trevor because he's actually with ABC Company. Trevor, what was his name? Wharton, tw@abc.com. Let me just grab that email address and drop that in there. And then we're going to indicate where we're going to have this. And then we're going to submit that. And of course, you could have a lot more details that are captured on something like this. This could be a multiple page form. You can capture all sorts of information there. But regardless of whether we capture a little bit of information or a lot of information, what I'm showing you here is really functioning the same way. Now, if I go into Trevor's record here, if we look for catering orders, there's nothing under his contact right now. But if I go ahead and I refresh this, that catering order should be there. Oh, where did it go? There we are, catering orders. Okay, so it didn't add it to it. Hang on one second here. Let me see if it added it to catering over there. It did. It may still be trying to find that record through the automation. What we should be seeing here is that this brought in Trevor's contact right here. And I apologize that it's not showing that quite yet. Let me just refresh this and see if it comes in. Sometimes in the multi-step automations, you'll see that it gets paused on something, and we have to give it just a moment. In the interest of time here, I'm just going to go ahead and put in Trevor there so you can see the result that you should be seeing based on that email address being there. So that brings in the new record here into the catering module, brings in that email address from the contact who submitted that, and then is able to look up the associated contact inside the system. What's also powerful about this too is that if it was not able to find a match, we actually have the ability to further customize this through our development team to maybe look for other contacts in the system that have the same domain. We could link to the company based on that. We could make suggestions as far as that type of thing goes. We don't necessarily have to link it. We could let you know that here are some possible suggestions for a company or two that this individual might have submitted that order from. So we can do things like that to potentially help you narrow this down and ultimately save you time and resources when it comes to trying to figure this type of stuff out. There's also a lot of ways now that Zoho has introduced to connect apps directly from within Zoho CRM. A lot of what we do with forms actually takes place through the Forms app, and then we connect it to the CRM. But inside of CRM itself, there's actually a lot we can do to connect Zoho CRM with other applications. And it's getting to the point where it doesn't require a developer to do this type of work. A lot of this can take place through a typical end user who has administrative capabilities to the system and maybe has a little bit of curiosity and a little bit of that tech savviness. And so what we can do here now is connect Zoho through Zoho workflows to another application called Zoho Flow. Zoho Flow is a separate application from the CRM. And if you're familiar with Zapier, that's actually something that's fairly comparable to Zoho Flow. Zapier is an application that allows hundreds really of different applications that are available in the cloud to connect with and communicate with one another. Sorry, give me just 1 second here. That's a bad link. Okay, here's the link I want. And Zoho Flow is Zoho's own version of Zapier. So now we have the ability inside of a workflow rule inside of Zoho CRM to now have actions that are driven by Zoho Flow. This means you have a whole slew of applications available now to you at your fingertips as a non-developer that can potentially be integrated with Zoho CRM in an automated way. So let's just take a look at some of what that might entail. This particular action, this workflow here, happens to be executed when the email opt-out is changed to selected. So we check the box to opt somebody out of our emails. It's going to execute something that sends a message in this case, Zoho Click, to the team, letting them know that somebody opted out of our emails, or this contact opted out of our emails. That's something that would have required a developer to create that integration in the past, or going into Zoho Flow and configuring it potentially from that end. Now you can actually configure this directly in the side of the CRM and connect it right at the endpoint of a Zoho CRM workflow that you're already accustomed to working with. A couple of other ones in here that we can highlight. Creating a new go-to meeting or creating a go-to meeting for a new lead. Now, obviously, we have Zoho meeting. We can integrate that pretty tightly. That's part of Flow as well. But if you wanted to take some things outside of Zoho, doing something like go-to meeting, integrating Microsoft Teams, all very real possibilities here. And these are things that, I mean, these integrations can literally be created within minutes. Let me actually go in and do a new action here. We'll take a look at some of the other things that exist in here. So we scroll through here a little bit. Things like Freshdesk, maybe you're not using Zoho Desk for your support tickets. Zendesk is another one that's in here. You can integrate with Outlook, Office 365, QuickBooks, an interesting one. If you're using QuickBooks or QuickBooks Online, and you want to tie some things together there, you could easily do so. ShipStation's a popular one with a lot of our clients these days, and a lot of people that are into e-commerce. That might be important. You know, if a new lead is added to CRM, that you want to add them to your e-commerce platform, or if a new order comes in over there, you want to change somebody maybe to a customer over here. Things like that can all be created directly inside the CRM. We'll only take one like this one here and associate that. You can see how once that's associated, that is the action that it's going to take. Now, if we wanted to create a new one here, let me go ahead and do something else here. Let's do a new action, but let's do this one for go-to meeting. And we'll do create meeting. I'll just show you how easy this is to set up. So I'll choose my go-to meeting, tell it what I'm going to do, create meeting, or go-to meeting, and then create that. And then really, if you're already authenticated, which I am, then it's just a matter of going in here and telling it how you want to do this. You can insert variables for start time. You can say whether or not a password's required. Give it a subject, which again, you can bring in variables from different areas of the CRM records. And then you're well on your way to setting this up. And then that can be an easy endpoint for a CRM workflow. So kind of similar to what we just covered here, trying to streamline processes, save you some of that manual time and effort. We have the ability as well to create documents automatically when new records are potentially created inside the CRM here. So if I go to, let's go to the certificates area here, certifications area of Zoho. If I create a new certification record inside here, new certifications, there we are. And we'll put in this ABC course, October 2023. Put in a first and last name here, so we'll do that. And then I'm going to go ahead and save this record. So I created a certification record in the system. Well, the thing that naturally goes with that is the sort of output of that certificate, something you might send to the participant. And so instead of somebody having to go in and create this record and then go in and have to initiate a mail merge and then download that file that they created and save it somewhere else and then email it to the participant, we've automated all of that. And so when we create a new certification record, over here inside certifications, you can see this was created 1 second ago. If I go in there, certifications, we should have the document here in just a moment, but we got the folder. Next thing would be the document. It also is going to be emailed out to the individual so that we don't have to generate any of that manually. All of that can happen in an automated way behind the scenes, as opposed to our team having to do those things manually. Your team having to do those things manually. Similarly, we create a new catering order here, or catering event. Let's just do ABC annual meeting. Drop that in here. And this should create over here a document for the catering order that then can be further completed and filled out by the party who's involved here. I apologize, there's a little bit of a delay in the automation and it's kind of affecting our demo here. Let me jump over to the next one here while we're waiting for that. And this is what I'm actually going to show you a video of, and I'm going to kind of voice over as we go. I had one of our developers record this. This is actually utilizing Zoho Analytics with Zoho CRM. And what we've done here is actually created an instant synchronization between CRM and analytics. If you're using Zoho Analytics today, or if you've looked into it at all, you may know there's a 3-hour delay in the synchronizations that take place between Zoho CRM and Zoho Analytics. Zoho Analytics is a phenomenal tool, has some awesome reporting capabilities. It brings data in from a variety of resources, not only Zoho applications, but other applications outside of Zoho, and also has advanced visualization tools and other capabilities that the dashboards and the reporting tools inside Zoho CRM by themselves just simply can't match up with. But because of all that data that it's processing and everything else that you have going on there, it cycles through the various tools that it is integrated with and syncs them on a schedule, with the maximum frequency being every 3 hours. There is the ability to manually synchronize. You can do that several times per day if you'd like. But of course, that's get more manual effort and that sort of thing. We're trying to avoid all of that, right? And so with the instant sync here, we actually have developed a tool through Zoho Catalyst. That's a serverless cloud computing platform that Zoho offers that can instantly sync records between CRM and analytics so that you don't actually have to wait at all for that to take place. Your analytics reports would be immediately updated. So what you're looking at here is a recording of something we had one of our developers put together. This is being demoed from the analytics side. I'm a little less familiar there. But basically, we've created a custom table here inside of analytics. And right now, it's empty. There's no rows in here right now. But we're going to go back over to CRM, and we're going to add a new record inside of this area that syncs with that. There's nothing in there right now, but we're going to add this new record, and it's going to go ahead and sync over. Again, Zoho Analytics does not sync instantaneously. It's only every 3 hours. So this gives us and our clients the ability to have that data immediately available in the Zoho Analytics platform for those advanced analytics tools. All we've got to do now is refresh here, and we're going to see that record appear. Additionally, this is not only for new records, this is also for edits. So if we go back over into the CRM, we go into edit the record, we can expect that those edits are also going to be instantaneously synchronized over to CRM. So that can be quite powerful. Now, we went a lot of different directions here with these various tools, okay? And I apologize, I did not go back to the slides here as we were going through these. It seemed easier just to get right into them. In AspenTech, the team here can assist you in a variety of different ways. You know, the engagements we have with our clients are extremely diverse. Some are just giving a client a nudge in the right direction. They want to do a lot of this themselves, and that's perfectly fine. We're here as advisors for you. With others, it's a little bit more in depth, to the point of really doing almost everything that we can for them and just simply teaching them how to use it in the end and then turning the keys over to the system at that point. But some of the common things we do for our clients, we help with analyzing requirements and proposing solutions. So if you have an existing Zoho solution that you feel like could benefit from some automation, or you have some business processes that are not incorporated into Zoho today, but you'd like them to be, or you think they might have the potential to be, those are the things that we can help work through. And when it comes to those types of conversations, they're almost all the time, almost always 100% free. You know, we'll go through and look at your existing system, existing documentation you have, and at least at a high level, determine what the solution needs to look like, and we'll start to estimate that work for you here on our end, completely free of charge. You know, when we get a little deeper into things, if you need help with customization and configuration of some of these items or anything that we can think of that goes even beyond this, we're happy to help there. We can create the integrations with our custom development team and really make Zoho do a lot of things that it doesn't do all by itself. We can train your users, whether those are end users, managers, or administrators, on how these types of things work, or also how to maintain them moving forward, if that's what you're interested in. Or even if you'd like to build some of these things yourself, we can teach you how to do that too. And then, of course, there's the ongoing support. Anywhere you run into a challenge with these things, we'll help you in whatever way we can there. So we have a little bit of time left in the call here. happy to take some questions if you guys have some. Feel free to post. Again, at the bottom of the screen there, there's a question mark icon. Click on that. That'll take you right into the Q&A area. So we've got a few questions so far. I appreciate you guys posting. Thank you. So one is, does Zoho Flow require a separate subscription? Yes, it does. If you're just talking about CRM by itself, Zoho Flow is a separate application. It does require a separate subscription. If you have Zoho One, Zoho Flow is included with that, and in that case, actually would not require a separate subscription. There are a few other bundles out there actually that Zoho has too. Those do not include Flow, but Flow is also a fairly inexpensive application to add on here. You just pull something up here really quick. We're going to just bring up Zoho's Flow page briefly. So again, this is included in Zoho One, but if you did have to license this separately, it's billed on a per organization basis. So this is per organization per month, billed annually. So you're looking at $120 roughly for the standard one per organization annually. Or for that one, gosh, I don't know what 24 times 12 is, but that's what your annual price would be for the Zoho Flow subscription at the professional level. An inexpensive tool to really give you a lot of capabilities to integrate Zoho with many of the other Zoho apps that you might be utilizing, as well as apps that extend beyond Zoho itself. So another question is, can Zoho Flow connect to QuickBooks desktop version or just the normal online version? So Zoho actually is starting to get into what they call offline connectors for Flow, but we're not quite there yet. And I don't know where QuickBooks falls in the list of priorities there. I would think it's probably on the higher side. It's a very popular product, but that's something I'll have to probably keep you posted on there. All right, let's go back to the questions there. So if we want to explore a custom integration and some enhancements to our Zoho implementation with your team, how would that process work? So I'm going to actually, let me go ahead on this slide here. I'm not wrapping this up quite yet, but I just wanted to get my contact information up there. The best way is to give us a call or shoot me an email, and we can start to have that conversation. Typically, we engage a little bit back and forth via email just to kind of get the lay of the land, high level understanding of what you have going on. And then we'll schedule a phone call to dive deeper into that. Or if you just give me a call and I happen to be available, happy to jump on with you then as well. Unfortunately, I do a lot of things just like this. And so when the phone's ringing, I'm not answering it. But feel free to give me a shout there, or like I said, shoot me an email. That starts the conversation. So once we get that conversation started, then we are going to obviously talk about what you have going on, understand kind of where you are today and where you're hoping to get to. Sometimes that's as simple as scheduling one meeting and doing a quick screen share. Sometimes that involves a lot of other people and several other meetings. But the estimating process is something we do for our clients free of charge. So helping you understand what it's going to take to get from where you are today to where you want to go is something that we don't bill for. When we provide that estimate, there's certainly a cost that comes with actually doing the work from that point forward if you want to move forward with it. But there's no obligation at that point to AspenTech to work with us. And like I said, it's a free service up until that point. All right, let's see, what else do we have here? If I want to trigger an email to contacts associated with an account based off a field change on the account, Would that be better using Zoho Flow or handling it all in Zoho CRM workflows? That is probably best handled using Zoho CRM workflows on its own. Because it's all self-contained inside the CRM, I think you'll have more flexibility and more power behind it, and it will execute more quickly if you use the Zoho CRM workflows. And if we need to, there's potential to use custom functions and things like that to also make that do things that it doesn't normally do off the shelf. That would probably be, yeah, a lot more straightforward than Flow for that case. But anytime you're bringing in another application beyond the CRM, I would say Flow is where I would look to first for that need. I don't see any other questions right now. So let me just head over here for a moment. Thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure having you on. I hope you got something out of this. If you'd like to discuss any of the features or functionality we showed you here today, or if there's anything else that you need that's related to Zoho or that you think we might be able to help with, please don't hesitate to reach out. Like I mentioned, email is a great first step. But feel free to try me on my phone as well there. I'm at extension 116, as you can see. And we'll look forward to hearing from you. You can also go check out our website. There's more information there about what we do, as well as a contact us form if you prefer to reach out in that way. Again, thank you for joining us. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.